Yo, what is going on, guys? Miguel here. So today we're coming at you with a video on exactly what you need to say when you are going out door knocking. Now, this could be if you're a real estate agent or if you're just generally in sales, because it's kind of all the same general rule of thumb, because I know some people who watch this are also in different sales and it's kind of all just the same thing. But as I am a real estate agent, I'll kind of go through what I do and then how you can kind of tailor that and just kind of tell you what the body and stuff of like what you need to say when you're door knocking, the pitch, how you guys can, no matter what industry again you're working in, can get people's attention, etc. So if you guys never been here before, of course, my name is Miguel Freitas. I am a licensed real estate agent out in London, Ontario, Canada. So I'm a Canadian realtor. I've been licensed since the market took a bit of a shift here in April 2022. And it's been good for me, right? So I'm currently at my office. I just had a buyer consult and I got a couple listing appointments later on. I do have a block for calls just after this, but I think I might it's not raining, so I might just go honestly and enjoy going, get some exercise that I haven't been able to get yet today. So so we're gonna just try to keep this about 10 minutes just so you guys can stay reasonably entertained. But if it goes a bit longer, you guys know my videos, they're not scripted, there's nothing. I basically just go off the cuff and you guys literally hear me speaking my brain at free knowledge, right? So if you guys have seen a lot of other things, if you guys have been joining coaching, whatever, if you guys watch my videos, you would know that I literally give tons of information away for free and I enjoy doing it, right? So to start things off, what do you need to say at the door? So again, I'm going to kind of generally say this as how I approach this from a real estate agent perspective, but then I'm also going to kind of take a note of it after of like how you can kind of elaborate this towards your own industry, whatever it is, right? Because if you think about it, if you boil it all down, sales all kind of gets to the same thing, right? Getting to the purpose or to the motivation of the client, right? So we'll just kind of speak that in real estate perspective first, but let's start, right? So first things first, you're going to knock on the door, right? I'm going to go all the way from like the little minute things like part of the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, that can also like kind of increase your likelihood of getting answers and like people recognizing who you are, stuff like that, right? So you want to start out. So when you go to knock on the door, right? First off, just make sure when you're walking around, right? Just make sure like you're obviously a part of the neighborhood, right? You're not like dragging your feet, you're not like talking to yourself, whatever, right? Just like head up off the phone, like just not like walk around that way, because people are watching you, right? So the first thing you want to do is when you go to knock on the door, you want to just have like a different knock, right? So if I go to knock on the door and someone's got like a Ring doorbell, I'll just give you an example, like the highest example I can give you. Someone's got a Ring doorbell, a doorbell, and they've also got a door. I'm going to do all three, right? So, and I've had in my career, I've not done over 30,000 doors at this point. The only time I ever had someone who brought that up were like, why did you knock on the door and ring? Was a really weird person that was actually, I think this was back in the fall this happened, but and then they came out and they said they were sorry, and I was just like, yeah, screw off. So so what you want to do is, because you never know if the doorbell rings, right? So you want to ring the doorbell, and then you want to, if you can hear the doorbell ring, sure, go ahead. But the biggest part for me is like when you knock on the door, you want to make it like a signature, right? Like for me, it's like this. It's like, that's how I door knock, right? I mean, that's just my signature tone, and people, if I've been, especially been in the neighborhood, people can kind of figure out that that's probably me, right? As opposed to like something, you know what I mean? It kind of comes off as like, oh, that's an interesting knock. I even had someone who once said it was actually just this winter, for whatever reason, like in the short interim, this has like been coming up for me, but I had someone in the winter, he's just a weird guy, and he was just like, why are you knocking like that, bro? And I was just like, I don't know. He wasn't a lead, let's put it that way. I just kind of left and just said, yeah, just some people you just got to tell them straight up to just shut up, and then you just got to go to the next door, right? So, but anyways, like it's a way to kind of separate yourself if you have other people going door to door in your area, right? How you're knocking is step number one, okay? Now, step number two, what are you saying? So first, actually, before we get into what you're saying, you got to step back. So after you knock on the door, step back about 6 feet, right? So after some time, you can kind of generally get in the feel, and you kind of have that barrier there where you can kind of feel like, okay, I'm far enough back, but I'm not too far away, right? Because if you're too far away, you can kind of feel it. You kind of step forward a little bit. But my general rule of thumb is about 6 feet back, right? Now you'll get some weird porches that are like you only have that small porch area. And there's honestly not much you can do. You just kind of have to like sway back. Just come off as least offensive as you can, so that way when they open it, they're happy to see you, right? So again, I know this isn't like tied to what you're saying, but all these little things, these like small, minute details really kind of flow into what comes next, which is what you're going to say, right? Okay, so So what are you going to say? So again, I'm going to start off from a door knocker's perspective, right? And it's going to go in. If I kind of go off track, well, just know that's just the way I am, right? But I'm trying to just speak as much as I can so you guys get enough information here. So client opens the door, right? And again, I'm a real estate agent, right? So let's say, I think to boil it down, I think a lot of people get stuck on what am I going to say, right? Or I used to have this analysis, it's all analysis paralysis, right? So I used to have analysis paralysis where I would have to know exact, like before I went out, I'd have to know all the exact sales in the neighborhood, the average price point, have a script around that. And over time, you get to realize that none of that has to do with your results, like at all, right? Like you kind of want to know what's going on in the area. And as you get like more experience with like some neighborhoods, you'd be like, yeah, average homes, 3 bedrooms are selling around here. And to kind of eliminate that analysis paralysis of trying to like get some information for your script, like if you want to give someone a neighborhood update on their things, sure, right? But to simplify it for you guys, number one, if you're going to do that, like just go on House Sigma and just be okay, a 3-bedroom selling for $650 here. A 4-bedroom's with a finished basement might fetch you like $725, $700, right? Just kind of know average price range and kind of go from there, right? But to save your guys sell some time, I'll tell you guys what I do right now. And it'll save you guys a lot of time to just get to the point, because people want you to kind of get to the point, but you also have to have your pitch to make sure that there's some inclusion of, credibility there. And I'll kind of walk you guys through. So step number 1, the client opens the door, the prospect opens the door. They're like, hello? And you say, hello? Like if they say hello, hello. If they say, hey, you say, hey, right? You want to mirror match whatever they say, right? You want to mirror match their tonality. And sometimes like I may not do that. It's just really how they open the door, like, how's it going? I'm like, I'm good. How are you? Right? Like, just depends on where it goes. But for the general rule of thumb, you want to mirror match whatever they say. So if they say, hello, you say, hello, my name's Miguel. And then I'll walk you guys through my pitch here, right? So my name's Miguel. I'm a realtor. I'm from around the area, right? I work here in London with Keller Williams. You must be the homeowner. Yes? Yes. Perfect. So I don't want to take up much of your time. I'm actually going to get going here in a few seconds. I actually skipped the part in the script. So let's rewind that script, okay? So knock, knock, client opens the door. Hello, hello, my name is Miguel. I'm a realtor from around the area, right? I work here in London with Keller Williams. You must be the homeowner. Yes? Yes, perfect. We haven't met before, have we? No, we never met. Okay, cool. Nice to meet you, by the way. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. The main reason I'm out here, the market's been off to a pretty good start here for 2025. We're seeing a lot of activity, especially within this area. A lot of buyers coming back into the market as the interest rates are dropping. But certainly in your price range, you're seeing a lot of activity and a lot of buyers and sellers doing well. So regardless, I was just curious with your own situation, if there's maybe plans for you to buy, invest, or sell your home in the near future. Okay, so breaking script here. That's my pitch, right? So I've gone away from, unless I just sold a home in the neighborhood and I want the neighbors to know that I sold that home, I'm just going right for that script every time. That script just kind of eliminates all the need for finding all this neighborhood information, and it gets to the point of what I want to deliver the pitch, which is delivering that in 30 seconds or less. And also it gives them a pattern interrupt, right? And I'll kind of walk you through like where that pattern interrupt is, right? But it also, what that is accomplishing is that it establishes credibility. I'm saying, hey, it's been off to a good start. Homes especially in this neighborhood, let's say Hyde Park, for example, in London, Hyde Park are doing, especially in these mid-7s price range, are doing exceptionally well. There's a lot of buyers in the market for these, and a lot of sellers are selling in pretty quick time frames. So I'm establishing credibility that there's definitely a strong market, although there's some other people, the news maybe is saying not, right? Which we all know that's been a thing for the last 3 or 4 years, right? So when I'm doing that, it's establishing my credibility. The other side of it too is if I have a home sale, I can establish credibility by just kind of switching around. Like, I just sold your neighbor here at 123 Main. This is how we did. Typically, when you see a person in the area sell, you'll see 1 or 2 more come up. So I'm just curious, right? I'm just kind of switching the script on the fly. But general rule of thumb, I don't have no matter, like if I'm just going out, it saves me a lot of time. I can just tell them the market's been good for their neighborhood, or just in general, the market's been awesome. And I just get to the point by establishing credibility to say that the market's doing well. The pattern interrupt is what really helps you break through. And that's where I say, hey, like, hello, my name's Miguel. I'm a realtor. I'm from around the area. I pause a little bit, right? I'm from around the area, right? I'm here in London with Keller Williams. And they're like, oh, he's from around the area. Okay. You must be the homeowner. Yes? And most of the time they're like, yes. And I'm like, awesome. Have we ever spoke before? Guys, that is an absolute pattern interrupt. They're like, no, I don't think so. Because sometimes if they know who I am, or they've seen me around, they're like, yeah, I think I've seen you before. Or, yeah, I don't think so. Nice. Nice to meet you, by the way. Like, yeah, it's great to meet you too. What's going on? It really breaks up that initial tension, right? That's been really good for me, right? When I just say, hey, I'm from around the area. Am I actually living in the area? No, but I'm saying I'm from around the area, right? And then sometimes you'd be like, so like after like you go further into the script, sometimes you go like, when you kind of break more conversation, sometimes you'll be like, like, have you, like, so do you live around here? Like, whereabouts do you live? And sometimes you're like, so yeah, I don't live around here. I grew up around here, or like whatever you want to say, right? But no one really tests it, right? It kind of just tells them that you're from around the area. And I grew up in London, so I'm from around everywhere. I know all the neighborhoods like the back of my hand. And I'm like, yeah, I'm from in and around the area. If you live in London, say, I live in the area, I'm with Keller Williams. But if you're not from the area, say, I'm from in and around the area. And then you're like, are you the owner? Yes. The reason why you want to say, I'm kind of dissecting and going off the top, but the reason why you say, you're the owner? Yes. You want to make sure you're speaking to the homeowner, right? Because if it's not, and every now and then you might have a kid or something that just kind of has like a bit of pride and goes like, why is that important, right? And then you kind of you match their energies, be like, well, the reason why it's important is because if I tell you, I'm just wasting all my time, right? Just if they give you a bit of attitude, just wash that in, right? But general rule of thumb, you want to make sure they're the owner because you want to make sure you're speaking to the right party. Now, if they're renting, so as a real estate agent, if they're renting, I still want to talk to them because they have a chance to buy. I have helped people buy when they're just renting, quite a bit actually. But typically I want the homeowner, right? So that's the script, right? It's a pitch where, number one, so to break that pitch down, number one, I have a pattern interrupt where they're like, okay, this guy's from London, he's pretty cool. I've never had someone say this kind of stuff at my door, kind of thing, right? But number two, it also gives them some credibility where I'm like, yeah, we're seeing a lot of home sales taking place in this area. We're seeing quite a few homes sell. Just curious if any plans to buy, invest, sell in the near future. C, I'm getting to the point, right? I'm not taking up a lot of their time. I'm not like really dragging my pitch on. It's sweet and simple. It's to the point. But it's also built credibility. And then I have that pattern interrupt where they're like, oh, maybe I think I might know this guy. They're kind of like, just use it. Like next time you go to the door, just use it. And you'll see like there's a lot of good results that come in that, right? Now, the biggest thing that you'll see when you're if you're not door knocking, right? You might need to, or if you're not door knocking for real estate, you might need to switch it up, right? I'm Windows sales rep with ABC company. You must be the homeowner, correct? Nice. We never met before. Perfect. I'm just going to get right to the point. It's that time of the year where a lot of people are looking to switch their windows, as things, whatever you want to say. Just curious if any plans to do some rentals regarding windows, right? You can literally just simply switch it out like that, but you guys kind of get the point, right? So let's go to the body of the script now, okay? So we got the pitch out of the way. That was a long part, but that honestly is the biggest part of it, is just dissecting that pitch. Because once you have that pitch down, the rest kind of flows. But at the same time, you got to know what to ask. So your body of the script is asking for motivation, right? You kind of already built that. You're 50% of the way where you've already kind of built that credibility with the seller, but now you're kind of getting the other 50% by asking motivational questions. My main 5 questions, guys, is this. It's how long have you been in the area? How has this area been for you? How has it changed? How has the area been, or how has it changed for you? X amount of years ago, where were you? Where did you come from? What was the reason you picked this area over others? And if you were to move again, where would you go and why? What's the reason for it? And then that's my 5 main questions, right? Do I stay exactly on track with that? No, I might ask other motivational questions, but that also comes with practice, right? So if you're a real estate agent, you want to know, okay, what is something I can follow as an actual script? Because obviously with myself, I'm a bit more experienced. I can just kind of go off the fly and just have my motivational questions out of my back pocket that matches the individual better. Again, that comes with questions. There's so many motivational, not questions, that comes with confidence and experience. But if you're new, like I was back in 2022, the 5 questions I used was, and it always worked. How long have you been here? How has the area changed since you've been here? Or have you noticed, or if you know there's been changes in the area, you can just be like, yeah, you noticed all the construction that's going on just behind you, and then they start talking about it. And that sometimes gets, again, if there's construction, it's a good talking point because they maybe like actually hate the area for that, right? But yeah, how's the area changed? Number 2, X amount of years ago. So let's say they were there for 5 years. Where were you from? What was the reason what brought you here? And then the last question is, if you were to move again, where would you go? The next thing you ask after that, I guess number 6 would be, and ideally, what time frame would you be considering at that point? Or however you want to phrase it, right? Ideally, how long do you think that might take, right? And then after that, you can go into a close, right? But before we get into the close, that's kind of your framing of questions, right? Those 5, 6 motivational questions really all you need. So if you're new, write those 6 down, because that's all I use. And now I still usually stick to that if you watch my videos, but most of the time I can throw some other things in that might drive the conversation another way. Again, that comes with a lot of practice, but you just need those 6 questions in your body of your script to really get their motivation out and figure out where you want them, right? If you want them in your database or if you're ready to have an appointment, which 99% of the people you're going to meet are ready for if they have interest, can be in your database, but the other 1% may actually be ready to have an appointment, especially March, April. March, April, these people are already thinking about selling. And honestly, every single time I go out door knocking, I have someone who's ready to go within the month. Like it's crazy, but you guys got to be door knocking right now. So we got that out of the way. Now let's kind of talk about if you're in other industries, right? Like how have you felt about how old are your windows currently, right? How long have you been living here for is probably something else you could ask, right? When was the last time you maybe have you ever had windows installed before? What was that experience like? How did that go? And then kind of talk about how that went, and then what they kind of expect from maybe their experience this time around, right? What kind of windows maybe had their eye on, whatever, right? Like I'm just trying to give you guys an idea, but it's quite simple. You can tailor any of these questions towards your own industry, right? It's quite simply just like that, right? So if you're in another industry, kind of write out the 6 questions I gave out, and then kind of tailor them to yourself, right? How long would you say it might be until you need your windows, right? Are you okay if I just do a quick walk around and examine them? Because for windows, right, if they're like shot, you're probably ready to go right now, right? Get a close done, right? So again, any other industry, you can just tailor that. But as a realtor, those 5 questions, right? How long you been here? How's the area changed? X amount of years ago, where'd you come from? What was the reason that you came to this area, and maybe more specifically this home? If you were to move again, where would you go? Why? Right? That's kind of one question. And then when would you ideally be looking to do that, right? That way you kind of know their time frame. Keep in mind, time frames almost always change, right? That's why you got to follow up with people. So that's the body, right? Your motivational questions. The last part is going to be your close. So this can be short and sweet, right? You're going to close based on depending on where they're at, right? So maybe they've told you, for example, and ideally, when would you like to make that move? Well, we're looking this spring. Okay, and what's important to you about the springtime? Well, we've heard a lot of people are, we know the springtime's kind of that best time to sell. Okay, do you mind if I just share with you a quick thing and why that may concern me? So if everyone I'm in script right now. So the majority of people like to sell in the spring. Yes, yeah. You want to get, I get it. You want to get the spring photos, all the nice weather, etc. May I share with you why that's ultimately concerning me? So yes, no problem, Miguel. Sure. So if the majority of sellers are waiting for the spring, what do you think that's going to do to listing inventory once we actually get there? Inventory is going up. Okay, so if inventory goes up and more buyers now have more options to choose from, what do you think that's going to reflect on your sales price through supply and demand? Yeah, you're right. If there's a chance it might go down, there might be too many listings. Exactly. And I can tell you from the last couple springs I've been working from the shifted market, that's exactly what's going on. There's too many homes going up for sale at once. So what you really want to consider is getting to the market now, making sure, of course, you have the right preparation involved, but getting to the market sooner than later, so that way you have less competition and you're at more leverage of buyer negotiations. Does that make sense? Or is fair enough is probably what I'd use there. Fair enough? Yeah. So I'd love to sit down with you and discuss this and how we can get you to a successful sale. Your 519 or 22, or what one are you best available, right? And then just book the appointment first, go. But you guys get the point, right? But that's like an actual situation that you'll deal with right now if you're door knocking, right? The common, I'm going to wait for the spring objection, which is if someone's ready for an appointment, that's likely what's going to happen. But let's just say no objections, right? It's like, hey, when would you want to make this move? We're talking about the close. When would you like to make this move? Well, I'd like to make it sooner than later. I mean, I think we can't really do the stairs anymore, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's say it's a perfect situation. Perfect. Well, hey, I'm going to be in your area. So I'm actually going to be in the area later today at 5 p.m. or whenever. You should usually book a couple days out for a listing appointment. I'm going to be back in your area Thursday at 5 p.m. Would you be around? Would you be okay if I step by? Would you be all right if I stop by, walked through your home, gave you some recommendations, and made sure wrote out a plan that's going to make sense for you and your husband? Does that sound fair? Yeah, you can come by then. Perfect. Pencil it in. And are you 519 or 226? Right. That's if they're ready for a sale. Right. You're just booking in the appointment. Okay. Let's say they're not ready yet. Again, I'm talking from a real estate perspective. Let's say they're not ready just yet. When would you like to make that move? Or when would you say you were looking to make your next? When would you say you're going to move into your next home? Whatever the question is. Or we're going to move into a bungalow in about 2 years' time. Our kids are going to be moving out of school and we're ready to downsize then. Perfect. So in the meantime, what I like to do is just keep you afloat of all the new listings and sales within your area as well as the average price point. So that way you're just informed. And by the time you are ready in 2 years, or let's say it's less or longer, at that point, you've got a useful outlet and resource that you can use for your real estate needs. Fair enough? Perfect. What's a good email for you? Write down their email. And are you 519 or 226? That's the area code in London, by the way, if you haven't picked that up. and I write down their phone number, right? If they're from Toronto, I might say, are you 647, right? And then I get there, but whatever, right? So you get the point. So if they're ready for an appointment, go for the appointment, right? Don't drag it on. Just go right to the point. Hey, I'm going to be in your area tomorrow at 5 p.m. Would you be around at that time, right? Are you around at that time if I'm swinging by? I'm going to be in your area anyways, right? Make it short and sweet. The other side of it too is if they're not ready, or maybe they're not even generally interested, still get them in your database, right? Because just keep them as like a C client, someone you're not going to actively follow up with. So more of the story is, guys, if you have a good conversation with someone, but they're not ready, or they're maybe never going to do anything, you should still get them on an email blast, because you should have good value going out through emails. But that's the general rule of thumb, right? So if they're ready for an appointment, close for the appointment. If they're not ready, close for their information, right? That's really what you want to focus on, the close. Same thing's going to go for if you're working in installations, whatever you're doing door to door, right? You want to go for the next close, which could be the appointment, or just gathering their information to keep them informed of what's going on for the installation or whatever, right? Just so that they're aware of some discounts and stuff, and then keep them on a drip, whatever your follow-up situation is, right? But as a realtor, that's what I'm doing. If they're not ready to go now or in the next 30 days, I'm going to keep them on a regular email, and then I might call them accordingly, right? Some people I'll just keep on an email. If they have no plans, I'm like, hey, I provide good information through there. I'll get their email. And then the next step of the close is just, if they're ready, just go ahead and get the appointment, okay? So I know that was a long one. That dragged on over 20 minutes. Probably a lot of things I said that probably didn't have to be said, but if you really watch through this whole video, this is like literally everything you would need for your script, right? Because I just broke down the whole script in 20 minutes, like why it works, why you do things. But I think the biggest part of it is that pitch, right? Because if you can really nail that pitch and then learn the motivational questions, the close, guys, is like, I don't have to touch on the close, it just comes naturally, right? So I hope that helps. I hope you guys seen some value in that video. If you have any questions, shoot them in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.